Hello, welcome to my lazy Sunday afternoon. I am I'm finishing a cup of tea here. Lazy because I always take naps on Sunday afternoons, and I'm kind of just waking up from that with my tea, which has just a little milk to give me energy to make this video and before I go make dinner. It's really good. This is a cardamom chai, and it just tastes really great with this milk. This milk I get from a local farmer. She brings it to me straight from the cow. She just gives it to me, so she's not actually selling it. New Mexico has all kinds of regulations for selling raw milk, which makes it, like $10+ a gallon for farmers to sell, but just because of all the regulations. And this lady just kindly just brings me milk. I love that. People love to bring me, produce from their gardens, and of course that we're not really in that season yet, but but I guess we're already in the season for milk because she wasn't milking her cow during the winter, or at least not as much, and so all the milk she was milking was going to her family. Anyway, I am going to do a vlog that I'm going to call Accordion Adventures because I have exciting news for you. Really, I do. Okay. And up until last week, I had never purchased anything on Facebook Marketplace. I hate the way these look. They look like alien feelers in my ears. Like, they're face down, but they still look like alien feelers. I guess I don't have an iPhone, and I guess these are the generic version of iPhone. I don't know. They were just a good price on Amazon. That's why I have them, but they look kind of dorky. I'm not really a lifestyle vlogger in that if you want advice on how to look gorgeous and young for your years, I'm not the person to go to. The only thing I can tell you is I don't know. I don't have anything to tell you. Exercise, I guess. I kind of started a Health for Riders a little bit ago, but it's just not that interesting to me. I listen to a lot of health and wellness videos and exercise videos and all of that, but there's a limit to what I really want to share with anybody as far as that goes. I have no credentials in the area. I have no credentials at all. Oh, I mean, I guess I do. I have a degree, but other than that, I really don't have credentials for anything. So I'm like the non-expert person coming at you. But okay, yes, Accordion Adventures. Yes, up until last week, I had never purchased anything on Facebook Marketplace. I get on Facebook Marketplace to look at classic trucks. It has been my dream since high school to have a classic truck. And I had a very specific idea of what kind of truck I wanted back in high school. Now I would take just about any, probably 1975 to 85 era square body. I would prefer a Chevy, but I could also go for a Ford. I like the Chevy Silverados. Before they came out with the Silverados, they were okay before that as well, but I do like the Chevy Silverado. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful car. And I like that era between like 75 to 85 because it just has a nice... The square body shape to it started a little bit earlier, but I like the way it looks when you get up to the late 70s and then mid 80s, and then it kind of goes downhill after that up into the 90s when trucks kind of got boring. But maybe I just look at that because 70s to 80s just looks more retro now. I don't know. But anyway, I like to look at classic trucks. And so I look at the local because I mean, I'm probably not going to buy one anyway because I've gotten this far in my life without buying one. I had an opportunity once when I was 19. I knew this guy who had a classic truck. I would say, probably it was in that 70s range of square body Chevy. It was a neat truck, and I admired it, and he said, I'll sell it to you for $200 because he was frustrated with it. He said he could always get it to work, and start and all that, but he got like 8 miles to the gallon for gas, and it did frustrate him sometimes because it was old and it needed work. But I had just purchased this ugly little Mazda And I tend to be practical when it comes down to it, so that's why I bought this little orange Mazda GLC. It was like 5-speed stick shift, and I learned to drive on stick shift, so I preferred that at one time. Now it seems like almost everything is automatic, but anyway. So I get on there to see if there's any cool classic trucks available near me. Not that I'm gonna buy one because I don't really want to spend money, but anyway, I was looking at the trucks and I saw this accordion, a piano accordion, and I thought, wouldn't it be neat to play the piano accordion? If I had one, I could learn to read music better. I could play songs that are more difficult to play on my diatonic button accordions. The reason why I say that is because the scales, I have 2 diatonic button accordions, and I'm going to show you all my accordions in a second. They are both, and I did this intentionally, they are both F, B flat, E flat. So they have an F scale, B flat scale, E flat scale. And so there are notes that are difficult, like they put some at the top to add the missing notes in those scales, but they're hard to reach, or this is it's not optimal sometimes to play everything on there, and I have to translate everything if I want to play it. And I end up playing a lot of chording, doing a lot of chording for songs that I like, that are church songs. And anyway, I just thought, well, it might be easier to translate songs on a piano accordion, and I could work on my my music reading skills, my music theory, and it might be easier on that style of accordion. And plus, with the songs that I play, the types of songs that I play on my diatonics, there's really not any written music anyway, and for that reason I wouldn't be practicing my music reading capabilities. When I first bought a Hohner Panther, that was my first accordion, I did buy some tutorial books for it, and they did have some that were teaching reading, and it was a specific line of accordion tutorials. But when I had a car accident and my Hohner Panther was destroyed, and I had those books. They were just in a pocket in the gig bag that it came with, and I just kept them there so I could just pull them out and play, the lessons in those books. But I couldn't find them in print. Like I tried to buy them from Amazon and from other sources, and they're like, well, we don't know when we're ever going to get those back. So I just kind of gave up on that. But as far as like most of the songs I play, there's no music anyway. I kind of gave up on that. I do learn scales. I try to be more precise about my practice sometimes, because I'm really kind of slapdash about it. Is that the word? Where I want to play what I want to play, and I play to relax myself after work. And being really rigid in doing, music theory lessons just is like, I don't want to. I just want to play a song that I like and mess around and noodle around on my accordion. But I do try to, I used to have a whole bunch of scales memorized, but I don't play them enough. And lately I've been trying to do finger exercises to make my fingers more dexterous, because I tend to lack coordination in general. Yes, I have everything that I need to play the accordion because I have the desire to learn to play. So the desire is the most important. The lack of coordination, the lack of talent, the lack of learning, all of that is kind of meaningless compared to the desire. And I don't know what to tell you, but that is the biggest part of any pursuit in life, is the desire to do it. So if you have the desire and the passion and you put the work in, then you will at least gain what you're going to gain. You may never be a concert musician. You may never be a performer. You may never be in a band. I don't care. I play with my dad sometimes. That's all good. I played for the Altar and Rosary the other day with a song that I had to translate into chords on the accordion because it was a church song. Una canción para la misa. Yeah, because my accordions tend to play Spanish. Well, that or I tend to play Spanish songs on my accordion. Uh, so that's another reason for the piano accordion. Um, Maybe it'll play some like non-Spanish songs. Anyway, so I bought this piano accordion, and I actually bought it from somebody who apparently knows Norteño Tejano music, uh, and he just plays piano accordion. And you will find that. So the most common would be the diatonic button, 3-row. That's the most common in that style of music. But you will find people who play the accordion de teclas, which is the piano accordion. And apparently this guy, that's what he plays. And so when I just saw it on there, and I'm like, ooh, neat retro piano accordion, and it was a good price. So I messaged him and said, is it still available? And he said, yeah. And he said he was going to be out of town till Friday or something like that. And so I'm like, I was had messaged him on a whim, so I just wanted to go look at it and then just buy it if I wanted to buy it. But then I had time to think about it. He actually, during that time, he sent me a video of himself playing it, and that's why I know he does the norteño music, because he played or Tejano Norteño. He played a song that I think that they play in both the Norteño and Tejano, because there's just so much crossover between those musical styles. You can usually pick out Tejano when it's playing, but there's so much crossover. Anyway, so he played a song that I immediately recognized, and and it sounded really good. The accordion sounded really good. And so by the end of the week, he said, well, right now that one, because he had another one that he was selling. And I'm like, well, now you've introduced different variations, and now I'm getting thinking, do I want this? What do I want? And I didn't really even need an accordion. This was just a whim. So if you sell me the black one, if you had been there just to sell it to me, it would have been a sure sell right there. I'm like, I don't know about this, trying to introduce new variables in there. Maybe he was trying to sell me the other one because it was more money. He would have made more off of it. I really don't know. But I said, well, can I just look at both of them and, go from there? And he said, well, the black one right now is at the music shop. And I'm like, a music shop in Roswell? What are you even talking about? Because I had only messaged him because he's local. I wasn't going to message somebody with a piano accordion in Wisconsin because, I couldn't go look at it. I couldn't pick it up. I couldn't, I would have to pay all this money for shipping. I'm like, I don't need a piano accordion. It was just something that I suddenly wanted and thought, well, I could improve my music skills through this piano accordion. That was my entire thought process. That's all the thought that I was thinking. I was like, and it was pretty in the picture. I'll show you in a second, because I'm going to show you all my accordions because this is Adventures with the Accordion. I said it's at the shop, and it turns out we have a music shop in what we do at the mall. Okay, I knew about that one, but that one has no accordions. It has nothing like that. I've been there before. I bought things from there for, whatever reason. I bought a music stand there, and I bought various things, over the years from that little music shop. A mic stand. I had bought a one of these karaoke machines that comes with a nice speaker and a mic, but it didn't come with a mic stand. And I'm like, well, yeah, I didn't really say it did it on the box, but if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need a mic stand, because the whole purpose for me buying this karaoke machine was so that I could sing and play the accordion at the same time, because my voice is not big enough to sing over the top of my accordion, and so I would be constantly drowned out by my accordion. That's what I bought it for, and that's what I did when I played for the Altar and Rosary meeting the other day. I took my little karaoke machine and my mic, and I played my accordion and sang in the mic, although I did forget to turn up the volume. I had the volume turned down really low, just because if I'm going to play songs while I'm cleaning the house, I don't want to just this speaker has volume, and I don't want to blast the neighbors and I don't want to be that person. And so anyway, there were several people who took videos of me playing the accordion on the rosary, and I can hear my voice, but it could have been adjusted better between the volume of the accordion and the volume of my vocals coming through the mic. Yeah, accordions are loud. I believe that there are a lot of musicians that will mic their accordions because they're playing for large audiences, but just in general, accordions are loud instruments. And yeah, so I went to this music shop. It's on the south end of Roswell, South Main, and nobody was there. It was all closed up. He was supposed to be there, and so I had all this like texting like, nobody's here, I'm on my lunch hour, I'm gonna be late going back, which I almost was, to be honest with you. I like ran in the door right at the last minute. Anyway, and I went in, and it's just this like neat dusty shop. It's like, okay, so we have this Charos boots where you can get like really, really beautiful cowboy boots and cowgirl boots, just beautiful tooled, they're expensive, $300+, but I've gone in and admired them before, but I've never purchased any because I'm not going to spend that kind of money. I don't care that much about my appearance. I mean, it'd be nice to have some really expensive, beautiful boots, but considering that I'm not like, I don't live on a ranch and don't go to, because these are the kind of boots that, yeah, like some of them you would wear like on the farm, right? But these, like you're gonna wear to a dance, you're gonna get dressed up and you're gonna wear them to a dance or whatever. And yeah, it's not really my lifestyle, so it's sad but true. I used to have a pair of Tony Lamas. I think I still do somewhere, and they were very pretty. They were very pretty Tony Lamas, and but I bought them when the really pointy toes were popular, and so that's what they had available. And now they just seem like that pointy toe. I just don't like it, and it's not that comfortable. I would prefer a square toe, or even rounder, something a little more comfortable, because one wants your boots to be comfortable, especially if you are dancing. Not that I ever go dancing, but I mean, in my head, I imagine it. I mean, I dance when I walk up the street. Anyway, it's right by that boot store. And I just did not have a clue that it was there, but he did show up and he showed me the accordion, and he had another old accordion, and he said the person who sold me this accordion, he said he'd sold him a nicer accordion. That's why he was trying to offload this one. One that could be mic'd or whatever. I'm not really sure, but, I said, well, do you deal in accordions regularly? And he said, no, I never look for accordions. Well, it turns out he's really just a rock, like guitar type of person. So if you want a guitar, you would go to that shop. But he does occasionally get accordions. And so he pulled it out, and I played it, and everything played, like all the keys played. There's no damage to the bellows. And this is one thing, like, people talk about how, their grandpa or their father had an accordion and they found it in the attic and all of that. But a lot of times attics are not, they're not temp controlled. And unfortunately, what happens is that your reed's going to get damaged, because what is holding everything in place inside an accordion is beeswax. And so it is very temperature sensitive. If it's in extreme cold, the wax will harden and your accordion will sound shrill and gross. And if it's left in a hot car, the wax can melt and it can just destroy, your accordion. You just don't want to do that to accordions, but you never know how they're stored. But this accordion, I already knew that it sounded good because dude had played it. Okay, because I'm not going to give his name. I'm not going to give his name publicly, but his name is Juan, but I won't give you his last name unless you want an accordion, I guess, because he was selling another one. So if you do want another piano accordion, then I'll tell you his name. You just have to message me or something. Yeah, so I played it, and I played all the keys. They played. There's like one black key that I found that was loose, but I mean, for an old accordion and for the price, I thought it was definitely worth it. And to me, the sound was really nice. And that's what I ultimately would look for in an accordion. Does it sound nice? Because after my Hohner Panther was destroyed in the car accident, that's what I did, was I listened to hours of videos of people playing different accordions to see which one I wanted to replace my Panther with. Because I was, I'm still a student. I'm kind of a novice. Nothing comes that easily to me. I'm not going to become a professional musician in a couple of years. I'm not fast. I'm not dexterous. I'm not, extremely clever like a lot of people are. They can pick up an instrument and they can just learn it and they're naturals. And I don't know what that's like. I've never been that type of person. I wish, but honestly, on the other hand, I'm like, I don't know. I struggle through everything, and I struggled to write books. I struggled in school. I struggle with like physical fitness because I'm kind of klutzy. Well, I mean, I tend to be physically fit, but as far as like playing sports, I was too klutzy really to play. So everything comes a little more difficult for some of us in the world, and I'm one of those people. And so anyway, but all that being said, I wasn't really ready to upgrade my accordion from a student accordion to a really nice professional quality. It's just that I got in this car accident, and the trauma, I think, is partly what created this situation where I was in pain. I had more money than anything else at the time. I mean, I really didn't have a lot of money, but I had the money to replace it with a really nice accordion. I'm like, I want bling. And I also, listening to the videos, I also really wanted an expensive accordion because they sounded really nice. And one of the things one of the issues that I had with the Hohner Panther was the clattering of the buttons. It would drive me crazy because I was trying to improve my speed in playing. Like, I would play the scales and I was trying to improve and get faster and sound better. And the clattering would just drive me up the wall. So it has a plastic button board and plastic buttons. And of course it's a cheaper accordion, but a Hohner Panthers sound really nice. The actual sound of the accordion is fairly nice for a cheaper accordion. That's why a lot of young norteño musicians will start with that when they're learning how to play, because it has a nice sound, but it's not, it's under $1,000. You can buy one usually between $300 and $800. I would really doubt that you would pay $800 for one, but I'm sure that somebody would sell you one for $800 because that's the way people are. Anyway, I wasn't really ready to upgrade to a more professional instrument, but like, I had to buy a new instrument. Well, I didn't have to, but I really wanted to learn to play the accordion. It's kind of my life goal at this point. Some day before I croak, I'm going to be good at the accordion. That's my life goal. Is that a worthwhile life goal? I hope so. And that's why I ended up buying a really expensive accordion. But I'm not going to start with I'm not going to start with that accordion. I am going to start with my Hohner, because after I replaced my Hohner Panther with an expensive Gabinelli, which just has a beautiful sound, I bought a Hohner because I do want the Hohner sound for specific, I don't know, it just has a brighter sound. And also, okay, so I'm just gonna get this accordion. And I've played it on here before. So this is my Hohner. It's a Hohner Corona 2 Classic. And it has 31 buttons, has no registers. It's about 10 pounds. So when I played for the Altar and Rosary, because I was standing up and playing in front, playing, with a mic, I took this one because it's it's so lightweight, and it's beautiful too. See, this particular line of accordions was made for Flaco Jimenez, which in the accordion world you should know who Flaco Jimenez is because he's amazing. He passed away a couple years ago. Anyway, so this was made for Flaco Jimenez, the Corona line. This one's a classic, which means what they did for the classic is they made this a wooden button board. And so has just a really nice bright sound. Has a really nice bright sound to it, and it sounds great, but it doesn't have the really smooth sound of the Gabinelli. That's why I ended up buying the Gabinelli. Plus the Gabinelli is really blingy. This one's really pretty too. This is like the pearl color, and I think it's beautiful with this like chrome and pearl. I think it's lovely. Anyway, I bought this to be kind of my backup accordion. When I had this, I had to take it for my Gabinelli, when I was having it tuned, I had to take it to a shop in Midland because I couldn't find anybody here locally, and I had asked a local accordion player, well, where should I go? And he gave me somebody's contact, and I contacted this person, and I went to Midland, and it was like this whole trip, and I'm like, I had to leave it with him and then come back and then go back for it. And I'm like, I should really have a backup accordion. And that was my excuse for buying this accordion, was so I could have a backup for incidences like that where I had to take the Gabinelli in. Because I'm more familiar with the Gabinelli, and because I like the sound of it, I tend to play that one more frequently. And then I pull this one out when because you have to play accordions if you want them to sound nice. You have to play them. Otherwise, they just have an undeveloped sound. This one, from the get-go, has bellows that move very smoothly. So that wasn't an issue, but I know with my Gabinelli, when I first started playing it, the bellows were very stiff. And so I had to play through that. Like, I had to play it a lot to get it to loosen up. And also, it just, wow, the sound improved. And it especially improved after I got it tuned. That was about a year ago, a little over a year ago that I got it tuned. Anyway. Very often. The button placement is really different on this one than it is, well, it's not really different, but it's different. So I'm sorry for that bad playing, but I just wanted to give you a sample of what it sounds like. And so that is my Owner Cronin. And now I'm going to play you a little bit of my Gabinelli. Okay, so here's my Gabinelli, and obviously I've played this before. It's beautiful. And so this one just has, I'm gonna play just the master. So since that one doesn't have a register, it just plays that master accordion sound, I guess. And I actually prefer that, although some songs are in the norteño style music are specifically played in clarinet, and then occasionally I'll hear one for violin, and that's what I have here. I have the master, the clarinet, and the violin. But I really prefer that traditional accordion sound. I guess that's what I call it. So you can hear that it's not as bright, it's not as brassy sounding. So like I have to want that sound. And honestly, that song that I was just playing, that one actually sounds kind of nice. It kind of has almost like a flirty sound to the accordion. I don't know if that's the right word for it. So that brass. So you can hear the difference, but yeah, I kind of like that particular song. I don't know, you know, I just pulled that kind of out. I like that song. I like it when I hear it on the radio or on my Spotify channel. And anyway, it's a nice song, but it has kind of that maybe a brassier sound to the song. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. I just prefer this one. The bellows now move very smoothly because I played it a lot, and I'm very used to the feel of the buttons. This one actually, I didn't tell you, has 34 buttons rather than 31. And so it's just bigger. It's about 14 pounds, which is, you know, it kind of makes a difference when you're standing up with it, because when I'm sitting, and when I have good posture when I'm sitting, then it's okay. But when I'm standing up, if I'm going to be standing for a while and playing, because I'll try to put an hour of practice in at a time, it can be kind of, it can screw up your back. I'm pretty sure that most accordion players have to go to the masseuse or the chiropractor or the physical therapy. I don't know. But especially the ones that play these, you know, giant instruments. Okay, so when I first picked up the piano accordion, which I'm going to, here, I'm just gonna pull the camera down so you can see it, the whole thing. Okay, oops, so this is the piano accordion that I bought, and I think it's quite pretty. It's got 2 registers. One I think is like, it sounds like an organ, and the other one I'm not really sure exactly, but I like the organ sound. You know, in the early days of the accordion, they were played in the church because a lot of the smaller churches just really couldn't afford accordions. And now, of course, most priests wouldn't let you play an accordion in mass. Maybe if you went to a Mexican style church, you know, I'm not like maybe a church in Mexico. I don't have no idea about that, but like St. John's in our town is like the more Mexican church, and I think that they might let you play an accordion. Maybe not. I don't know. Probably depends on the priest. Anyway, but this, I just wanted to show this this case that I came with. It's like this old clunky, it was so heavy. And maybe because of the extra pounds of the piano accordion. Now, I expected this to be heavier than it was. And the guy who sold it, he said it's a bit heavy. But I was surprised at how light it was, because I was picturing like 30 pounds, and I think it's probably about 18. But I'll play a little bit for you. Like I said, I can't play the piano, and I really haven't figured out how to play it yet, but I will switch that around, and we will get this. And I will play a little bit for you so you can hear the sound. And I really, really do like this. This is the organ. At least that's what it sounds like to me. And so this is really awkward to me. Now, somebody who has been playing playing the piano accordion for a long time, they're probably used to it, but it's really long and flatter, whereas these are boxier and shorter. And that's gonna be something that I have to get used to. I noticed that when I was watching videos of people playing the piano accordion, even professionals were looking down at their keys as they were playing. And I don't see that with like people who play the button accordion. It's like they're not looking down, but maybe it's because they're resting their chin and looking down. I really don't know. And I'm gonna have to figure out like how my wrist and arm, because on that one, like you're supposed to have your kind of, you don't want your wrist to be tipped, but this instrument is so much larger that I'm not really quite sure how to work it yet. It feels really awkward to me. I'm just used to a different instrument, but I love the sound. I'm not sure what that is. Any guesses? I don't know. This one, that one may not be an organ sound. That's what it sounds like to me, is like an organ. Oh, and here's the, I don't know how to do bass. The unfortunate thing with bass is that, okay, so my Gabanelli doesn't even, the bass buttons are dummy buttons, and there's only 12 of them anyway, but they're dummy buttons, so I can't play them. And the Hohner, oh, that's another reason why I wanted a Hohner, because a Hohner Chronas still come with the bass. Now you can specially order a Gabanelli with the bass reeds in it, but they don't like to sell them that way, I guess, because it changes the sound. I don't know, it just seems like you're getting only half of an instrument that way, but I think you can order them. And honestly, the guy that tuned my accordion, he said he would put some in, but he said, well, let me just look in my shop, and then he couldn't find any. So he didn't have the right ones for my accordion, and he didn't do it, but he said, I'll just put some in for you. And I'm like, okay, cool. That'd be great. Then I could have the bass. But so that's one reason why I wanted this Hohner, was to learn the bass. And yeah, sometimes I play them, but like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Unfortunately, most of the norteño musicians don't play bass. Now, in the early days when I had the Hohner Panther, I was doing both because that's the way the lessons were structured. They were structured with the right hand first, and then the left hand, and then the right hand and left hand together, and there were exercises where you could play both together. And I was getting more coordinated that way, but then, like I said, the accident destroyed that, and the Gabanelli didn't have any. And so yeah, now I have this Hohner that I don't play as often as I should, and I should play it for that reason. But now I have this like 120, okay, so 10 times as many bass buttons on here. So I don't really know. But anyway, this was just my latest accordion adventure, and I hope you want to go along with me. Maybe you can come along with me as I'm learning to play this instrument, as I'm learning these too, because I'm really just a student of the accordion. And maybe you love accordions as much as I do, and you want to go along on this adventure. I don't know. But if you do, like and subscribe and stick around, because this is going to get crazy. I have a feeling this is going to get really crazy. I'm going to try to, okay, so my goal, well, aside from doing actual scales and learning the feel of the instrument and learning to read music better through playing a piano keyboard, through all that, I really want to learn beer barrel polka, and that is my goal. And then there are some norteño songs that are played on a piano accordion, like Fidel Rueda. He plays piano accordion, and I love his songs, so I probably will try to learn some of his songs too. I can replicate them on my button accordions, but they, it takes work, and they'll never sound the same, because there's a certain smoothness with the piano accordion that's going to be lacking with the diatonic, because the note is the same in and out. And so you don't have a lot of this like jerky back and forth with the diatonic, which that's a personal problem, but I actually hear it. You can hear the difference, even with the professional musicians. You can hear the difference between the diatonic and the kind of jerky sound, because most of the notes are played out, but there's still some that are played in, and then you go back and forth, and like that song I just played just goes back and forth and between in and out notes, and it makes it a little like you have to get used to that. But I hope that doesn't really mess up my coordination playing this when all the notes are the same in and out. But in that sense, this instrument should be easier, not these bass buttons, not these 120 bass buttons. And the length of it makes it like difficult for me to like wrap my arms around. I don't know. Anyway, that's my accordion story for the day. And so that's where I'm at. You can see where I'm at, and we'll see if I can improve. And if you like to, maybe you're learning to play the accordion too. And so you can follow along with me. Maybe we can become friends. Okay. So this is Jill from the Land of Aliens signing out. I'll see you another time.